This is Damon Stevens with Finwell Builders. Today is Sunday, September 25th, 2022, and this is stock market prep for this week coming up. And also just a little bit of recap from last week. Hopefully everybody had a great week. If you're short in the market, you got paid off. And we know we talked about this every day that there's a lot more people short in this market than long right now. And finally, the patience paid off for those who were short in the market. So we will see more of it. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So let's get into it, get prepped out for this next week and see what we can expect. Now, looking at the futures right now, tonight, you can see here that, off of the lows that we hit on Friday, came up and hit that 50-day moving average on the 15-minute chart and just kind of consolidating right here between the 50-day moving average and the 20-day. So we'll see how that holds overnight and see where we're kind of headed in the morning. If we pull back down and break through the lows on Friday, we could possibly have a really quick run down, possibly towards the 360, maybe even down to 350 this week. So need to hold this level here if we're going to get a little bounce. That was a great rejection off there, but typically if you get a rejection off and you come back and revisit that area, a lot of times that area is weaker and you're going to see lower prices. So just be prepared for that as we get into Monday. But right now, the futures is trying to hold up from that low that it put in on Friday. So looking at, right here, as far as the overall market, you can see the Dow Jones closed down 1.62%, NASDAQ down 1.8%, and S&P 500 down 1.72%. You see, obviously, the heat map is red across the board. Even our FANG stocks selling off real well. And Tesla, it was holding up there for a long time and finally started selling off here. And then Apple, the other thing to watch right now, Apple's still up for the year, about 1%. So Apple's kind of, one of those stocks that kind of hold the market up. So if we get a collapse on Apple, I think the market's going to really come down heavy. So just something to be aware of. The other thing too that I do not like, well, you do like it if you're bear and you're looking for good shorts, is energy. Energy continues to fall after making those huge highs that it did earlier. Usually this is a good warning sign that there's more downturn to come. So just something to keep an eye on. Look at that energy. It's used to be one of the strongest, and now it's one of the weakest. Tech stocks, when they start selling off, again, usually you're in a bear market as you see techs and energy selling down. So just something to be aware of. Also, you can see on our scanner, did not trade any of these. Look at the volume on some of these, are really low volume. So definitely not a tradable opportunity, at least for me. Looking at, this what's coming up this week. Not a lot on Monday. Tuesday, though, we have durable goods on here and consumer confidence index and new home sales. The word out there is that they've been coming down. Prices are starting to come down now, and people are not, paying over asking as much. Does that hold? We'll see. We'll see what the news comes out Wednesday. Pending home sales index. So a lot of information around homes. That really could affect one particular part of the market. And then Thursday, again, jobless claims, and then real gross domestic product information coming out, and also on Friday, PC information. So, Thursday, Friday is typically our big news days. Wednesdays, if we have the Fed speaking, but not this week. So we get a little bit of a week off here. We'll see, what that does for the market. Hopefully it provides some great opportunities, whether you're a bear or bull. In both directions. All right, let's look in the next chart here. So looking here, again, this is what we we're talking about before. People short in the market, you can see that, we have institutions short in the market. You can see record number here. These are they're hedging. There's going to be a downfall here of shorts. So you can see, there's a big payoff that was happening this week. And if you look at the charts, towards the end of last week, or kind of midweek last week, and this is the S&P 500, and this is calls and puts. This is people with short contracts against the market, and the green is people in long contracts. And we had a lot of spikes on longs last week, and you see that that's all dried up. But the puts continue to remain out here, 385. So obviously we're below that. So, obviously these people can get paid out as long as the market continues to stay lower. We have a few other spikes here at 375 and 370. So again, more people shorting the market, more institutions, another short in the market here. So If we keep these prices low in the market, these will continue to pay out. Typically, the market wants to collect on it and pull those contracts back. Right now, though, with the weakness, that's not happening. Now, if we do get a little bit of a rally this week, after putting this bottom in, because it did not, the market decided not to go past that low on the SPY. So, it bounced off that support level just pennies before hitting a new low. And so we'll see if that pays off with a little bit of a rally maybe, but we do expect, to come back and retest some of these again. So we'll see how the week plays out. Just be careful when you're trading out there. Watch the size of your trades. And here's the other thing, this is where I expect, possibly a bounce at some point. This is the S&P 500 stocks above the 50-day moving average. If they're above the 50-day, typically stocks are looked at more bullish. If they're below the 50-day moving average, they're more bearish. And you see that we had this, low here back in June of 2022, where, we had, not even 1% of companies above the 50-day, which means very bearish. And that was the kind of the old low on June 17th. You saw that we had this little rally out here, which is great, but we got to 92.4. So 92% of companies were above the 50-day. But you can see historical, 70, 71, 76. So, we're expecting a pullback. And you see that we did get that pullback back to this little support line. Then we had another little mini rally. And then another huge pullback. And now we are sitting at about 4% of companies above the 50-day moving average. That's very bearish. But look at the reason I'm watching this one in this zone here is because look at when it came down here back in June when we made the first low in the market. It bounced up, kind of chopped a little bit, and then we had that rally. So does that same thing happen here again? That's the question I have, because you see we gap down right in this area. We're almost to the bottom. So the question is if we hit this bottom, when are we going to rally here? You can see also, we're oversold. So, we are due for some type of bounce at some point. So just something to be aware of as we go in this next week. If you have not subscribed, definitely subscribe to our channel on FinWealth Live on our YouTube channel. And also, if you go out to our finwealthlive.com website, you'll see a link down here for free non-member chat and daily watch list Discord. So if you go out there and join, click on this link, that'll get you hooked in, and you'll actually get to see on our Discord server a watch list that we post before the market opens on what we're looking at going into, what we're trading, when we're buying, when we're selling, and that way you kind of know right up front kind of what we're looking at in the marketplace. And if there's some ideas out there you like, then great. Otherwise, feel free to share your trades out there as well. And if you are interested in joining us, click on this link here. You can see more about our company and what we do. But if you do join, this is the dashboard, and you can see that there's a link to live trading, trading courses. We have several different techniques that we teach out there, about 16 right now. There's hundreds of ways to trade the market, but we put about 16 out there, give people different ideas on maybe different ways that they could trade, especially if you're new trading, trying to figure out what type of trader you want to be, whether it's, a swing trader, day trader, long-term trader, whatever you want, whatever your goals are. There's courses out there. We also have group trading and one-on-ones. And one of the couple things we did with one-on-ones lately is we actually logged in on people's computers and looked at how they set up their trading platform and kind of tweaked it a little bit to help them to, have better trades and be able to better understand the price action on trades. So something we'd like to offer if you want to become a member. But that's all we have to say about that. Let's get right into some of these charts now. Tesla. So on a daily chart here, you can see Tesla's right down here, right on our support line from these pivots. So can Tesla bounce from here? It's possible. It is this little wedge. And so, if we can get a bounce off of here, maybe we can run up here and maybe there's a breakout to the top. But right now you can see most of the momentum right now is to the bottom downside. If we do break this, we do have a little bit of support here at this pivot here at 265.74. If we break that down, now 233 would be the next area, which is this group down here. So that's quite a drop for Tesla. So, Tesla's got to, hopefully the market's got to do something this week. Also on Chipotle Totally fine came down, but it looks almost like you got a double top in here and a neckline right here. Looks like we kind of broke that neckline. If we do confirm that neckline break, Chipotle could possibly come down here to 372. If it does, it'll fill this gap we have back here. But back here in June, actually it was July 27th. But that's what we're watching right now. It bounced off the 200-day, which is good. That should have been, a good support area. But, does it hold if it comes back down again? So that's what we got to keep an eye on Chipotle. NVIDIA continues to put in new lows, just continues to grind down here. 116 is kind of really the next line in the sand that we put if it cannot get back above some of our resistance line, because it just kind of has broken down through each resistance line that we've had, or I mean support line. On Amazon daily chart, you see that we broke down through this wedge, and we're coming down here. We did not quite got through, so 110 is pretty much where I got the next line in the sand. So we're kind of like sandwiched between our resistance line up here and a support line down here at 110. So we'll see what happens to Amazon, but Amazon's kind of floating in between our lines. Netflix kind of, you can see pretty much in a range now, and it's kind of right here off of our lower band here from these pivots. So if we break down through there below the 50-day moving average, we might have support here at 214.69, which is where this pivot was. If not, long way down, but we could be going down to new lows again on Netflix. So hopefully Netflix can get a bounce here. Apple, same thing. Apple's sitting right here on our lower support line here and our trend line. So, again, you can see that we're downward facing, so we are heading down, but if we bounce off here, maybe we can get some support and run this. If not, if we break down, low support here at 148, if we break that, 140. And then if we break that down to 132 would be the next line down. Microsoft continued to cranking down to new lows. It's kind of curving here, so maybe we can flatten out here and maybe find a level support. But for right now, Microsoft, not a good long right now until we get some type of confirmation breakout to the upside. Looking at the 10-year yield, boy, nice spike up here. So making new highs on the 10-year yield. So as long as if bonds continue to remain strong, money's flowing into there, obviously into that area and out of the stocks. So continue, got a strong move on 10-year yield, but we did get a little bit of resistance. This is a rejection candle typically, which means you're going to probably get a little bit of reversal, maybe down to our support line here at this 3.495. Which is close to where we had the prior high, and find support. If we do, maybe we'll get a bounce from there. On a 2-year yield, we broke out of our third deviation band, the final deviation band, and came back right close to it. So do we get a pullback? Every time we kind of got to that upper deviation band, we've had a pullback. So we'll see if that happens. If we do that, it may allow the market to rally here as this pulls down here, probably down somewhere and retrace down close to this 20. And then possibly rally back up again as long as the bonds continue to remain strong. Dollar, huge spike on the dollar. Up here close to our third deviation band, you can see it last time it hit there, it came down. So do we get a pullback? We'll see, but really strong dollar move. So that means money's flowing out of stocks. And obviously when there's a strong dollar move, the gold comes down. And gold was kind of consolidating this bear flag and finally broke down here. Down to 1643. Our line in the sand really would be, somewhere down here on maybe around 1620 next. And if that breaks, then down here to close to 1600. So gold remains weak. The VIX spiked up. It got out of this upper trend line, not quite to our secondary deviation band, but it got through a trend line and bounced back in. So we'll see if we can hold in there. As long as the VIX continues to elevate, or especially get above 30, we can expect more downside in the market. We're going to spy on the 1 day. You see it broke through this 371 area, which was hopefully we'd get a bounce there because we did before. So obviously, since we broke right through that area, this was not a good support area, even though we had support before. And so that means 362.17 was our next line. And it did bounce off of there on Friday. We'll see if we can get back above here. We do have a gap to fill now. The 371 might be a little bit of resistance, but really, looking to come up here closer to like 376, 379, and maybe get the rejection off of here to pull back down again. On a weekly chart, you can see we're right on the 200-day moving average. So we got to really hold this line. Break back above is really critical right now. On a monthly chart, we're on the 50-day moving average on the SPY. So on a monthly, we're right at a critical spot, and also we're oversold right here at the bottom. So that's where, that's why I'm looking to say, hey, do we get a little bit of a pop here and a little rally off of here? Now that we're having to go to monthly charts to get, find out where the lines in the sand are. On triple Qs, broke our support line here, got below it, headed towards 268.28 would be our next level support. You can see we bounced Friday. We'll see if we can get a move back up above our resistance line now and get this moving up here. If not, look for support. If we break 268, new lows are in sight and obviously happening. IWM, the Russell 2000, small caps, broke right through our line, our support line. And so now, and you see kind of came down here. I'll just move this down here. You see it came down to this candle here, which was our first breakout that we had to go to the upside. So if it breaks below that, 262.78, which is this pivot down here, would hopefully be support. If not, then our trend line down here would be 157.61. So we'll see if we can, IWM, if we can get a break and start to head back up. But right now, showing some weakness still in, obviously, the Russell 2000. Financials breaking down as well. Big, huge candle breakdown. And so it's right down here towards these candles where we started to break up. It kind of broke all the way through our support line here, and then it kind of settled back just above it. So the next one down is this 3020 area, 3026, 3021. We break that, new lows in place for financials. So right now, financials selling off. As long as financials is weak, the rest of the markets are probably going to follow along. Bitcoin down here on our support line on this little downward wedge, trying to hold right there. This 18,500 is important. You can see back here in June and also September 7th, that was support. See if we can get a support here to bounce off of here. And maybe since this is a downward sloping wedge, we'd want to see it kind of break out and break up to the top towards this 22.7. Ethereum, here's a lows down here around this 9,000 mark, which we talked about. If we don't hold this current level, we're at 1,300, this is where the pivot's from. Back here in June, again, June was a critical month. That was our low before. We got to hold here. It's barely, you can see it's kind of spiking through it. If that weakness remains, we very well could come down here and retest 1,000. If we can hold this and break back above our downward sloping wedge, then we could possibly get some strength to go up towards 1,800 again. So that's kind of what we're looking for as we go into this week. Definitely join our free non-member chat and dailies, and also consider becoming a member. If you have questions, definitely contact us, and we'd love to answer your questions and love to see you trade with us. So let's make some money together. Stay safe out there. We'll talk tomorrow night, see how the trades went for the day, plan out our next day, and make sure that you're all prepared. So everybody have a great rest of the weekend and a great night, and we will talk to you tomorrow.